All right, that was a heck of a game.
That was something. That was
Yeah.
that was an impressive bounce back. Well, they won last week, but certainly in a lot of areas bounced back big time.
Yeah, that was a fun game. The Eagles win 24-7 over the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. This is the Eagle Eye podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We are a little loopy, a little tired, but we have a lot to talk about. That was a dominating performance, and it makes you think, like, I know it's early in this season, but
yeah, that's the kind of game. I mean, that's, everyone wanted them to, okay, they haven't beaten a good team. Well, you know what? They beat a good team. That's pretty loaded offense and a good defense. And I mean, they won by 17. They probably should have won by more like 27. But
they didn't just beat them. I mean,
they manhandled them.
Yeah.
I mean, they outgained them by 230 yards. They wore them down. They beat them up. It was really impressive on both sides of the ball. And we talk about complementary football all the time, and we saw that in a big way, not just offense and defense, but special teams too. You have the punter saving a touchdown at a kind of a big moment when the game was still in the balance a little bit.
I had some people telling me he looked like DK Metcalf. I was like, all right, well, maybe not that, but it was an impressive play.
Yeah, I just thought it's the kind of game that, there's not a lot of, what is there, 5-2-0 teams? I guess the Bills won.
I think there's only, 3 in the NFC?
3 in the Giants and the Eagles and
See, I don't start to name them because I don't know them.
Yeah, I have it up on my screen somewhere. But yeah, look, when you can go 2-0, you're in the mix. You're one of the better teams in the league. And when you can beat a team like the Vikings convincingly, I mean, the Vikings, this was a line. It was just not a push, but it was close to it.
It was a 3-point line, which is basically a push
at home.
Yeah.
The Vikings are a team that was picked to win 9.5 games, the same number as the Eagles. So they went out and beat that team up, and decisively, both sides of the ball dominated. Statement win is kind of a cliche, but I think it fits. I think it's appropriate in this case. This is the kind of win that really tells the league we're for real. We're 2-0. We won a game we didn't play great. Now we won a game where we did play great, or at least for a half played unbelievable.
Yeah.
And well enough in the second half. A lot to like, and certainly when you look at the schedule and who's coming up, a chance to really build on this.
Yeah, it's obviously so early. It's a long season, and we know all the caveats to this. But so far, so good. And this is the kind of win that makes you think that they're a legitimate contender.
Yeah, it has to. And when the quarterback's playing like this, but I think my biggest takeaway, aside from Jalen, and we'll get to, is I thought every question we had coming out of Detroit, like if you made a list of all the things you were concerned about, they answered every single one of them, whether it was pressure, takeaway, stopping the run, tackling. There's just every single thing that you wondered about this team coming out of that Lions win, they answered definitively, and they showed, again, I thought that team wasn't ready to play Sunday defensively, at least. You could see they were different tonight, right from the get-go. More physical, more intense, more focused. It was a different defense. Guys were, I think the difference in run defense really kind of DeAndre Swift had 144 yards last week.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook had 17. They got numbers to the ball. They tackled so much better. It was like a different defense. It was really like watching a different team on that side of the ball. Really encouraging. Look, you knew this team was going to score points, but I think we both had some questions about the defense. They showed tonight, and you saw the new guys really, not all of them, maybe most of them, contributed and looked better, I thought, than last week. So,
and let's face it, there were, and look, there still are going to be until he does it consistently week in and week out. The questions about Jalen Hurts were, obviously he had a pretty good game last week, but overall for the season, that's the biggest question of this team. If he plays like he did tonight,
if he plays
anything's possible.
Like he did tonight, they better sign him soon before his price goes up to $50 million.
They can't.
Well, no, they can't sign until the end of the year,
Yeah.
but they can. Well, you can't circumvent it, but if there was any, well, let's put it this way: if there's any question, and we did a pick and click, I think it was 97% said they believe in him as the quarterback of the future, and 3% didn't. And I'm wondering what those 3% are looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I loved about Jalen's performance is he did run for he ran for 2 touchdowns and 57 yards, I think it was, but that's the best we've seen him throwing the ball.
My favorite play of the game didn't count.
Which one was that?
It was the one where he rolled left and it was negated by a penalty, and he threw it on a rope to Quez Watkins.
Well, that play killed me because my bold prediction was Quez would be the Eagles' leading receiver.
Oh, and he would have been if he.
And I think it was a 40-yard penalty. That was that in Mulata, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, so he would have had 100.
But that
yards.
play, I mean, and there was another one where he threw across his body. I mean, he's making the throws that we had questions about.
Yeah, and I thought
he's looking to throw too.
Yeah, no, tonight he really did.
I love that. That's an important next step for him.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I thought some of the things we saw in training camp, I thought we really saw tonight. Like he was decisive. He used the whole field. I thought he saw things really well.
Yeah,
and quickly. The whole operation from the point he got the ball to the point he delivers it is so much faster than it was last year. It's condensed. Yeah. And that obviously gives the offense a huge advantage because the longer you're standing back there, the easier you are to defend. And, this is just here's a stat I love, Dave, because this is most Jalen Hurts stats where you're like, well, this many passing yards, this many rushing, this and that, whatever. This is just a pure passing stat. He's only the 17th quarterback in NFL history to complete 84% of his passes and throw for 330 yards.
Wow.
So that stat doesn't have anything to do with rushing, has nothing to do with well, I mean, he's getting himself, buying himself time by being on the move. But some of the other guys who've done it, I mean, Peyton Manning 3 times, Kurt Warner twice, Tom Brady 3 times, Johnny Unitas. That's the company he's in.
And a couple of his incompletions, I mean, he had the one throw to Goddard that he couldn't bring down. That got knocked away. That was maybe one of his best balls of the night.
Yeah, it was a great defensive play. It was a perfect ball because it was put in the right place. Yeah. And Gainwell, I mean,
that shouldn't have been a pick.
Yeah,
his one blemish wasn't his fault. It was best game we've seen from him by far.
Not only the best game we've seen from him, I think it's one of the best games. I mean, look, obviously, Foles had some incredible games in 2017, but since then.
And I mean, Carson Wentz did too.
Yeah, but before Foles. I mean, he had a couple in 2018. I mean, he had some, but yeah. I thought all things considered, his command of the offense, spreading the ball around, making good decisions, it was some pretty high-level quarterback play.
Absolutely. And my favorite
third most accurate game in Eagles history behind Foles once in 2018 and Foles once in 2013.
And this is a guy who, everyone was worried about.
Can't throw the ball.
Is he going to be accurate enough?
He's a running back. Yeah. I got a lot of tweets to answer tonight. I mean, like 300.
I'll tell you what. I'm looking at his passing chart from this game. All to the left. How encouraging is that?
Yeah.
Because that was a real thing. That wasn't something that people.
Is that still on your screen?
Made up. Yeah, I can show you. Well, I can show this. I'm showing a screen of a screen. I don't know how that'll work. But it's all.
You got the reflection of the ring lights, but other than that, yeah look at that.
All to the left.
Yeah.
That was a legitimate thing. It was like, because his obvious, and that's the way most righties are. You roll to your right, it's easier to throw that way. But seeing him throw that much to the left, that's encouraging.
And I think that goes
back to. The whole field's
to,
open now.
That's what I think, that's what I'm saying. I think he's just seeing things so much better. He's processing it quicker. I think that's the word I was looking for. He's just processing what he sees, and he's able to, diagnose what he sees and get the ball to the open guy wherever he is. There was he had 26 completions,
26 to 31.
I would say 20 of them there was a guy open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was there was some tight windows, but when there was somebody open,
he's firing through some tight windows though. I like
that. He did, but when guys were open, he found them.
Mm-hmm.
There was times Devontae, Goddard. Even AJ had a couple that they were open and he found them quickly.
And he's hitting guys in stride.
And they're getting yards after
because
the catch.
That's a real big – I mean, and we've seen that with these Sirianni offenses that from this tree. Like, that's a big part of it is hitting guys in stride. The big plays don't have to come from bombs. Obviously, they had one in this game. But a big play can be a quick slant and let a guy cook after that. And if he hits them in stride, they're going to keep doing that.
It was a good TV show.
What's that?
Quick Slants.
Oh, yeah.
One other thing that really impressed me about her, and we're not even talking about his running. He had 2 touchdowns and 50.
And those both touchdowns,
well,
he muscles his way into the end zone.
Yeah, and the 26-yarder, by the way, longest rushing touchdown by an Eagles quarterback since Donovan in 2002 against the Giants. I love that run. I don't think he gets enough credit for how tough he is.
He's so strong. I think like the power lifter in him.
Did you see? So I asked Jaws this on the postgame, like how many quarterbacks, when he got to the 15, he had Jordan Hicks coming up behind him, and he had, I think, a safety coming up, toward him. And for a second, it looked like he slowed down. It looked like he was just going to duck out of bounds.
I think he just changed his mind there.
He saw Lane, and he was like, well, or he might have seen Lane, but he saw one or the other, and he just – but then he got hit at the 5, and then he got hit at the 1.
He just powered through it. It was impressive.
That was an incredible run.
Look, you do hold your breath a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's so strong in that area. I get it. Go for that touchdown. And the one on the other side of the field, that cut was deadly. And then I didn't think he was going to score on either of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, look, it's only 2 games. I don't want to get too crazy, but he's shown in different ways these last 2 games. I think last week is more responding to the pressure and the blitzes and taking off when it made sense to do it. But he also made some good throws and some smart decisions. But I think the common denominator is good decision making, and he's done that in both games.
And he's such a, and everyone tried to get him to say how well he played, and all he kept saying was, "We got a lot to clean up."
Yeah.
He didn't like the way they finished.
Yeah.
He gave us new aphorism. Did you hear it?
No, I won't.
No man is an island. You must draw your strength from others.
It's kind of okay.
What? You don't like that one?
Well, no, it's fine. No, it's good. It's a good one. Yeah. I wonder who helped him think of it. No,
I don't know. I jot him down whenever he said.
No, that's a good one.
But
he's got a lot of sayings.
He does.
I'm sure it came from Saban.
Probably. Everything does. All roads lead back to
Bama.
Tuscaloosa.
Bama.
But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that about him, that, he was asked about like spreading the ball around. He's like, I don't, whatever works. Like, I think that's probably a good thing overall for the offense, to spread the ball around and keep everyone involved. But I truly believe that he does not care exactly how it divvies up.
Yeah, I don't think there's. Look, I think generally you want to be more like today than last week when it was just all AJ. But there's different ways to skin a cat, and I think he's good with that. Listening to his interviews is really like. There's not a lot of quotes there that you can use for a story, but I love listening to him talk.
Yeah.
There's just a wiseness. I guess a wisdom is the noun form of wiseness.
I like messing up the word associated with being wise.
That's right. Well, it's not smart; it's just wise. But yeah, there's a wisdom. There's like a real deep wisdom. There's a I mean, he always talks about. Everyone talks about even keel, but he takes it to an extreme that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I think his approach, it could be, a crucial 4th down in Detroit in the 4th quarter with 2 minutes left, or a rep at OTAs in the spring, and I feel like his approach is exactly the same,
which is really easy to say.
Yeah,
not so easy in practice.
Yeah, but he's and that mentality really allows him to, I think, play at a really high level and get the most out of his ability. Impressive game. He gets the game ball. Not Slay. I guess you got to give it to Hurts. I mean, either one of them. Take your pick. You get 2 game balls. I bet you they did give out 2 game balls. One to Hurts, one to Slay. Yeah. We'll find that out when they show the post-game speech. But the offense in general, Shane Steichen is on a roll. Yeah. 455 yards in the opener, 486, I think. Yeah. 945 yards, the 3rd most in Eagles history after 2 games. He's in a rhythm right now. He really is. And I'll tell you what,
they might lose Shane Steichen if this keeps going.
Yeah, I think I was thinking that during the game. I was like, they're looking at the wrong coordinator for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the personality as Gannon. He doesn't come across as immediately.
He calls games like that.
Man, he's got such a flair for play calling, and he mixing in the run. Just different looks. I like how
they did something. They were in pistol.
Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
Like, where the heck we've seen like that a smattering of that throughout the year and one game before. They were in pistol a ton tonight.
Yeah.
I love that, by the way.
I love the way he deploys his personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Both games they've played, he got Miles out of there, and Boston Scott had a big run. It's just It's like right now everything was today. Boston had a 16-yard run for a first down.
Yeah, it was a big run.
Yeah. 34 pass attempts, 34 rushing attempts, if you include sacks as pass plays, which they are called pass.
Yeah.
It seems like he has a better idea. And look, it's natural in your second year in the same place. Just seems to have a better idea of what everyone's strengths and weaknesses are and how to kind of trend toward the strengths.
Yeah. And they were just running cover 2 beaters all day.
Yeah.
Seeing Gannon's defense all summer probably helped because they do a lot of the same coverages.
Ed Donatell's a good coach, but this is the exact same thing that happened when he was in Denver.
Yeah, you're right.
The same result. But he sticks to his guns, doesn't he? And they're saying the same thing about him in Minnesota that people were saying about Gannon last year. I thought he was going to adjust, but he never did.
He didn't. I was really impressed by the offense in general.
You know what's funny? Steichen is like when you talk to Shane, I mean, he's so low key and so like Gannon's like really effusive and personality and joking and and Shane's just like, but Shane's calls a game.
Shane's got a processor in him.
Yeah, he calls a game with so much flair and panache. Or panache. Yeah, Tim Panaccio. But I was really impressed. That was if they keep moving the ball like this and scoring points like this, he's not going to be here next year.
And we didn't mention him. Dallas Goedert was the leading receiver on this team today. 5 for 82.
Tough.
He's on 1,200-yard pace after 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a really good player. I'm sure he would like that one back. Yeah, he got tagged on that play too.
It was a good defensive play.
Yeah.
I thought it was who knocked that out?
I believe
it was 3. Who's 3?
It was Dantzler. Yeah, it was Dantzler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good play. I'm sure he feels like he could have caught it, but he's also a big part of the running game. He's such a good player.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't mention Devontae, who I thought really did a nice
7 catches on 7 targets.
Really handled last week well.
And I mean, we were saying it all week. People should have bet the house on it. Him getting the first catch of that game.
Yeah, you knew it was going to him, and good. It should have. And you don't often say they got to get. But I mean, whoever's open. But yeah, you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Get the ball in his hands. Let him feel it and go from there. You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and NissanUSA.com today.
Darius Slay. Holy cow.
Unbelievable.
That's why he gets paid $20 million a year.
He could have had 5 interceptions.
Well, what's funny? So he gave the first interception ball to James Harden. And Harden waited after the game. He wanted Slay to sign it. And Slay was, of course, the last player in. So Harden's just waiting there with the ball, waiting for him to sign it. And the first thing Harden says, "You were great. Should have had 3 or 4." And Slay agreed with him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was a dominant performance against one of the best receivers in the league.
I loved his quote after the game. He said he was asked about Justin Jefferson, and he said he's one of the best in the world. I'm one of the best in the world too.
Yeah. Next gen stats here.
Yeah.
5 targets with Slay on Jefferson.
1 catch.
1 catch. Slay had 2 picks. Slay out caught him.
Incredible. And I'm gonna do that thing now where I say I've been doing this a long time, blah blah blah. Eagles have had some great cornerbacks, from Roynell Young, who was a Pro Bowler on the Super Bowl team as a rookie, to Bobby and Troy and Eric Allen and Asante and Lito and Sheldon. This was as good cornerback play as I've ever seen. He knocked down 5 balls?
Yeah, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions.
And gave up one.
And he showed some toughness. Before his second pick, he was banged up.
Yeah.
And they were trying to call him off, and he waved off Zach McPherson.
Yeah. Yeah. He
caught a pick in the end zone, and then his day was done.
Yeah. He wanted this one. And and along with that was great pressure in the second half. And Avante, I thought Avante had a good game too. A really good game. He had a pick as well, 3 picks in the second half. And it looked like he was on Jefferson on a handful of plays in the slot.
Yeah, so that's the normal, and I'll have to look at it again, but that's what the Eagles typically do is they'll travel Slay, but not into the slot. So that's where sometimes they'll try to hide a receiver in the slot, and you can do that with Jefferson a little bit.
Yeah, he lined up in the slot. We'll see the numbers, but I mean, the amazing stat is his longest. He finished 6 for 48. His longest catch was 11 yards. This guy, second most yards in NFL history
kills everyone
by a player in his first 35 games. I mean, he's
on a Hall of Fame track in his third year.
Yeah. Vikings didn't have a play running or passing of 20 yards. And I think along with that, we got to mention Dalvin Cook. I mean, coming off the DeAndre Swift game, 6 for 17, third worst game of his career. He had a long gain of 6 yards.
Yeah. The tackling shored up in this game.
Yeah, big time.
And I mean, Cook and Madison, too, who's a bigger back, can break some tackles.
Yeah.
They handled both of them.
Yeah, their leading rusher was Kirk Cousins. He had a 13-yard garbage run at the end, padded his stats. Really impressive stuff. I'd like to look up. I didn't have time to do this. I will. The last time Jefferson and Cook both played a game and had 65 combined yards.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, he's averaged 1,200 yards over the last 3 years. And Jefferson's averaged, well, not the last 3 years. He probably has averaged that much the last 3 years, even though he played, one of them. But impressive stuff.
Can we talk about Gannon?
Yeah. I thought you were going to do one of your segues there. I was setting you up.
Yeah. I just want to get to it.
Okay.
He answered a lot of questions.
Yes, he did.
And right from the first snap, because I actually did something rare for me. I deleted a tweet because I saw the unit come out, and I tweeted, they're running the 4-man front. They ran a 5-man front with Kaiser White as an outside backer.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
He's pretty good, by the way.
He is very good. That was a steal.
Yeah.
But I kind of talked about it during the week. I wanted to see him marry. It felt like last week they had 2 separate schemes. It felt like they married those schemes a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Everyone just looked more comfortable. Everyone just looked – I think they were embarrassed last week. Give up. I mean –
it was more aggressive too. And aggressiveness doesn't have to mean like zero blitzes. They did that. They did blitz in this game, but they let their corners press a little bit. And because like – theoretically, it doesn't make sense if you're not getting pressure to then play so far off.
Right.
Because you're just giving them easy out.
Right.
Like, that was my biggest problem with the excuse of Jared Goff getting the ball out quick last week was that, well, of course he did. You were giving him that out. They didn't give him that out. They didn't give Kirk Cousins that out, and they forced him into some really poor plays.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think a lot of the defense's issues last week were more player related than Gannon related.
I disagree.
No, I know you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, arm tackling is inexcusable for anybody. And
he gave him tough angles last week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy that other than maybe a couple for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But I just thought everyone was from right from the first snap. I just saw more intensity, more fire. I think they were embarrassed by what happened, and they won the game, but they gave up 35 points to Jared Goff. And I do think Gannon had a much better plan, but I also think guys played better as well.
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand. It's tough to how can you give a percentage for what changed, but I think both things did change.
I do. It is nice to see. This is a team that hasn't blitzed much over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many he called. We'll get some numbers on that tomorrow. I don't know if you track that, but
I didn't track it.
Gardner Johnson's going to get some sacks doing that.
I think so. And TJ coming through the A gap.
Yeah, that was a good pressure. TJ played so much better.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, last week you're going, man, what is this? He was their best player on defense in training camp.
Yeah.
He brought the physicality again in week 2. And that was something that's what he needs to bring. If he's not bringing physicality, he shouldn't be out there.
Right.
But he did that in week 2. And he had a big pass breakup.
Yeah, he did. That was a great play.
Yeah.
Was that on Irv Smith maybe?
I think so. Middle of the field. It was a third down.
Yeah.
Got him off the field.
Yeah. I thought it was a DPI at first, but I watched it again. It was a really good play.
Yeah.
And so that was just another one of those things you're looking at, because a lot of times with undrafted guys, they have a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that'll happen with him, but this is a really encouraging performance for him, for a lot of guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought Fletch played really well.
Fletch played well. Overall, I thought the line didn't get as much pressure as you'd still like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Sweat had a sack on the last play. Fletcher had the sack. Sweat should have had another one, but he grabbed the face mask. Reddick has to pick it up.
Yeah.
And there were a couple plays for him in coverage, and it's not pretty.
Yeah. I thought in the second half I liked the pressure. I liked the pressure in the second half. I thought they were
able to kind of ratchet it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought Cousins, he was seeing ghosts out there.
He was.
He was just throwing it up for grabs.
You know what I really liked about this game? Complementary football is something I'm always big on. The defense got stuck in 2 bad positions. One was on the blocked field goal, and eventually Sipas tackled him. Bad position. The interception, Kenny Gainwell, bad position. Didn't give up any points.
Yeah, I think the first one was down to the 27. The second one was down to the 10 or the 9. I think Hicks returned it to the 9.
Red zone. Yeah.
And then actually at the end of the game, they were down at the 6, and they didn't score. So through their last 4 possessions, they were inside the 30. I thought the game was still in the balance. At that point, I think it was 9.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And, you're up 17. You're kind of scuffling a little on offense. They kind of they played it right. They were running the ball, running clock. But, they score there. It's 24-14, and there's still 9.5 minutes left. They got some momentum. I thought that one drive after the blocked field goal was that one defensive possession was really, really impressive. There was one throw, I think it was on second down when he threw to the left into just traffic. Jefferson was open on the right in the right flat, and he didn't even look at him. He was just trying to get rid of the ball because I think he was getting hit a lot, and I don't think he liked it very much.
Yeah, well, we know that about him.
Yeah, I thought Avante on both those drives was really, really good. He was another one. He did not have a good game in Detroit. I thought he missed a bunch of tackles. I think 3. I think he was credited with 3. Played so much better. TJ, Avante, both played dramatically better.
Can I bring up one more thing I forgot to mention with the offense?
No, you can't.
I love them driving at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment where they weren't going to call a timeout until they got first down. They got a first down. They called a timeout. Then they got stopped. Then the Lions did it last week too, but the Vikings called a timeout. They helped them, and they were able to get the ball down the field and kick a field goal.
Yeah.
I appreciate that aggressiveness. Trust your players.
Yeah, no, I agree. Asante tweeted out who was the last Eagle with 2 interceptions in a game. I think he thought it was him.
It's Jordan Hicks.
No, it was Slay.
Slay.
Carolina.
Before Slay, was it Hicks?
I'd have to look that. I didn't get back that far. I think it might have been Bradley Fletcher. No, it's not really. I just felt like saying that name. Yeah. We'll find that out. But man, 3 takeaways. That's been a while. It was a Carolina game, but
and that's the look. This this defense needs to force turnovers. If they want to play the style they want to play, they need big plays, and they got them.
Yeah, it was I don't know what was more encouraging, the offensive performance or the defense. Probably the defense.
I don't know, because the offense includes the quarterback, and that's that's not just encouraging for this game. Like that could be long-term encouraging.
Yeah. I think this is the first time I've ever felt like, you know what? I've seen enough. He's the guy. I mean, I've thought he was for a while now. But
this was different.
Like, who are you going to get that's better than what we saw tonight?
Well, I mean, if this is what it is, this is it.
I mean, he's not going to play to this level every night, but even the first two games, I thought he played really well in Detroit, considering what he was up against. And, this is a good start for him. I mean, he's only got one passing touchdown. I couldn't care less. He's 8-2 in his last 10 starts.
The touchdowns are touchdowns.
He's a winner. Yeah. Time to get Chris Sims on the podcast.
We can do that. Fans brought it tonight.
Yeah.
That was a fun atmosphere. It was you kind of felt it in there when you got in there, and it was fun talking to AJ Brown after the game, because I think he was anticipating it, and it was fun watching him just go out there for warm-ups and go, oh, this is different.
There were people tailgating at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if they made it to the game.
Well lubricated by the time they got in there.
Yeah, I don't know if they made it to the game, but they were certainly I mean, I pulled into work into this building, the Wells Fargo Center, at 1:30 because I had some things I wanted to work on, and Broad Street was already backed up down to 95, and there was already 2,000 campers in the parking lot at 1:30.
The stars came out too. We had James Harden, Bryce Harper, Reese Hoskins, Bradley Cooper, Questlove.
Questlove was here.
Yeah. I mean, everyone was there. Congratulations, Dick Vermeil got his Hall of Fame ring at halftime.
It's funny. He was on the WIP pregame with us, and
did he tear up?
Oh yeah, before he even. But he was asked to. One thing we do with every guest is, and it's whoever's being honored that day, asked to do the Eagles fight song. So he changed the lyrics to "Fly Eagles Fly," and play some defense. And play some defense. Why don't you? That was great, and they did.
They did. You got anything else here?
No, and I'm thrilled for Dick Vermeil. Man, he looks great. I don't know how old he is. He's in his 80s.
Oh, he does look great.
He's a few years into his 80s, and that was great to see him. What a class act.
Yeah, he is. All right. We appreciate everyone. If you can, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe there as well. We appreciate those of you who are going to listen to this in the middle of the night. The real crazies among you. We appreciate that so much.
Love it.
That's it. This is an Eagle Eye podcast presented by Nissan. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. We'll talk to you soon.